That 100% Arabica label on your coffee bag might not be the mark of quality you believe it is. It's a phrase that promises a superior experience, a rich and aromatic cup to start your day. But what if I told you that behind that appealing packaging, some of the biggest names in coffee are hiding secrets that not only compromise the flavor of your brew, but could also impact your well-being? It's a quiet but significant issue that many of us overlook in our daily rush for a caffeine fix. The reality is that the coffee industry has its share of shortcuts. Some roasters, in an effort to cut costs and increase shelf life, mix in lower-grade Robusta beans after grinding, or even add hydrogenated oils to create a uniform but ultimately artificial sheen. These additives can introduce unwanted fats and chemicals into what should be a pure, natural product. This means your morning ritual might include ingredients you would never knowingly choose to consume. In today's video, we are going to carefully peel back the layers of marketing and take a calm, considered look at what's really inside your coffee. We'll examine the common traps that are easy to fall for when browsing the grocery store aisle. My goal is to equip you with the knowledge to see past the clever branding and understand the difference between a genuinely high-quality coffee and one that simply looks the part. We will identify 5 specific brands that you should consider avoiding, and more importantly, I'll share which types of coffee are still safe choices. By the end of this discussion, you'll be able to confidently select a coffee that is both delicious and genuinely good for you. Let's begin. Instant coffee mixes with hydrogenated oils. The allure of the instant coffee mix is undeniable. In a single convenient packet, you get the promise of a cafe-style beverage without the grinder, the brewer, or the wait. For many, these sachets are a lifeline, a quick caffeine source at the office, a travel companion, or a comforting staple in places where fresh brewing is impossible. The packaging reinforces this trust, often depicting creamy lattes and rich cappuccinos, suggesting a simple blend of coffee, milk, and sugar. The truth, however, is far more complex and significantly less wholesome. To achieve that smooth, creamy texture and extend shelf life indefinitely, many manufacturers turn to an ingredient with a controversial history: hydrogenated oils. These oils are created through an industrial process that adds hydrogen to liquid vegetable oil, making it solid at room temperature. This process creates trans fats, the same type that prompted widespread public health campaigns and regulatory action against their use in fast food and other processed goods. Hydrogenated oils give instant coffee mixes a desirable mouthfeel that mimics dairy cream and prevents the product from clumping, all while drastically reducing production costs. The problem is that this convenience comes at a hidden physiological price. Trans fats are known to negatively impact cholesterol levels by raising low-density lipoprotein, LDL, the bad cholesterol, while simultaneously lowering high-density lipoprotein, HDL, the good cholesterol that helps protect your artery. Over time, a diet that includes these fats contributes to an increased risk of heart disease and inflammation. While the FDA has taken steps to remove partially hydrogenated oils from the food supply, labeling regulations can create loopholes. Food manufacturers are permitted to list 0 grams of trans fat on their nutrition labels if the product contains less than 0.5 grams of trans fat per serving. This rounding down rule means that even if you check the label, you could still be consuming small amounts of these harmful fats. For someone who drinks multiple cups of instant coffee a day, these trace amounts can add up, silently undermining their cardiovascular health. The reliance on these lab-created fats speaks to a broader issue. These products prioritize convenience and profit over purity. A truly high-quality coffee should not require an industrial fat to taste creamy or satisfying. 2. Decaf processed with methylene chloride. For many coffee lovers, decaf is a welcome compromise. It offers the rich flavor and comforting ritual of a cup of coffee without the stimulating effects of caffeine, making it an ideal choice for an evening treat or for those sensitive to jitters and anxiety. The term decaffeinated itself sounds gentle and inherently safe, leading most consumers to purchase it without a second thought about how the caffeine is actually removed. Yet, one of the most common and cost-effective methods for producing decaf coffee involves a chemical solvent that might give you pause: methylene chloride. This is the same volatile chemical compound used in industrial applications like paint strippers, degreasers, and adhesive removers. The process, known as direct solvent decaffeination, involves steaming green coffee beans to open their pores and then repeatedly rinsing them with methylene chloride. The solvent bonds with the caffeine molecules, stripping them from the bean while leaving most of the original flavor compounds intact. Afterward, the beans are steamed and roasted at high temperatures, which manufacturers claim causes the vast majority of the chemical to evaporate. The FDA and EPA have regulations in place that permit trace amounts of methylene chloride to remain in decaffeinated coffee, with a limit set at 10 parts per million. Regulators and producers argue that this residual amount is well below the threshold for any potential health risk. However, many consumer health advocates and scientists challenge this perspective. They argue that no level of a known carcinogen is truly safe for consumption, especially when safer alternatives exist. The International Agency for Research on Cancer classifies methylene chloride as a possible human carcinogen, and workplace exposure is strictly regulated to protect factory workers. The idea that a chemical requiring such precautions in an industrial setting is acceptable in our food, even in trace amounts, is unsettling. The primary reason for its continued use is purely economic. Ethylene chloride is highly efficient, fast, and inexpensive, allowing for the mass production of low-cost decaf coffee that lines supermarket shelves. Safer methods, like the Swiss water process, use only water to remove caffeine and are entirely chemical-free, but they are more time-consuming and expensive, resulting in a higher price for the consumer. When you choose your decaf, you're not just choosing a coffee, you're choosing a process. Knowing which one was used is the only way to ensure your harmless cup is truly free from questionable industrial residues. 3. Cheap 100% Arabica blends cut with Robusta. When you're standing in the coffee aisle, the 100% Arabica label acts as a beacon of quality. It's a marketing term designed to evoke images of premium, high-altitude coffee plantations and a cup that is smooth, aromatic, and nuanced. For the discerning coffee drinker, it suggests a product a cut above the rest, justifying a slightly higher price tag. This label has become shorthand for refinement, and we trust that we are paying for a superior bean. Unfortunately, this trust can be misplaced. The premium promise of 100% Arabica can sometimes be a clever disguise for a blend that has been diluted with cheaper, lower-grade Robusta beans to bolster profits. The key difference between Arabica and Robusta beans lies in their flavor, caffeine content, and growing conditions. Arabica beans thrive at high altitudes, grow more slowly, and develop complex, fragrant flavor profiles with bright acidity and floral or fruity notes. They contain less caffeine and are generally considered the more desirable and palatable of the two. Robusta, as its name suggests, is a hardier plant. It grows quickly in hotter climates, is more resistant to disease, and yields a larger crop. Its beans have nearly double the caffeine of Arabica, and a flavor profile that is often described as rubbery, bitter, or chocolatey. Due to its ease of cultivation and abundance, Robusta is significantly cheaper. This price difference creates a strong financial incentive for less scrupulous roasters to secretly blend it into their Arabica products. This practice is a subtle form of deception. Labeling laws often have enough ambiguity to allow roasters to make a 100% Arabica claim, even if the product contains a small percentage of other beans, particularly if the blending occurs after the initial import. The average consumer won't be able to detect a small amount of Robusta, though they might notice an unexpected bitterness or harshness in their cup. It's a bait and switch on a massive scale, where you pay a premium for a product that has been quietly degraded. Coffee industry analysts have noted discrepancies between the volume of high-grade Arabica beans imported and the sheer quantity of 100% Arabica products on the market, suggesting that fillers are a widespread issue. To protect yourself, look for greater transparency. Reputable brands that offer single-origin coffee beans sourced from a specific farm, cooperative, or region are far less likely to engage in this practice. Their entire brand identity is built on the unique characteristics of that origin. Furthermore, look for roasters that provide details like roast date, altitude, and specific tasting notes. This level of detail is a hallmark of a brand that takes pride in its product's integrity. 4. Coffee pods made from plastic. Single-serve coffee machines have revolutionized the morning routine for millions, offering unparalleled convenience, consistency, and speed. The process is brilliantly simple. Insert a small capsule, press a button, and in under a minute, you have a fresh, hot cup of coffee with zero mess. This seamless experience has made coffee pods a fixture in homes and offices worldwide. However, this convenience culture obscures a growing concern that is both invisible and deeply personal: the potential ingestion of microplastic. Every time you brew a cup using a plastic pod, you may be introducing microscopic plastic particles and leached chemicals into your body. The problem lies in the fundamental design of the system. To brew coffee, the machine punctures the pod and forces near boiling water through it at high pressure. This combination of intense heat and pressure is the perfect storm for plastic degradation. As the hot water streams through the capsule, it can cause the plastic to shed tiny fragments, microplastics, and leach chemical compounds like phthalates or other plasticizers. These particles are so small that they flow directly into your mug along with the coffee, completely undetected by sight or taste. While many brands have made a point of advertising their pods as BPA-free, this doesn't eliminate the risk. BPA is just one of many potentially harmful chemicals used in plastic manufacturing, and the physical breakdown of the plastic material itself into micro and nanoparticles is a separate issue. Recent scientific studies have confirmed that brewing coffee with plastic pods releases a significant number of these particles. Research has shown that these microplastics don't just pass harmlessly through our digestive systems. They can accumulate in our organs, cross the blood-brain barrier, and potentially disrupt endocrine function. While the long-term health consequences of this low-level exposure are still being studied, the idea of willingly adding a daily dose of plastic to our diet is unsettling. Is the convenience of a 60-second brew worth the potential cumulative risk over years of consumption? Fortunately, consumers are not without options. A growing number of companies now offer compostable pods made from plant-based materials like cornstarch, which break down naturally without leaving plastic residue. Another excellent alternative is to use a reusable stainless steel pod. These allow you to fill them with your favorite ground coffee, giving you the convenience of the machine without the plastic waste or health concerns. 5. Over-roasted or stale beans hiding mold. There is a common misconception in the world of coffee that a darker roast equates to a stronger, richer, and more flavorful brew. Many consumers actively seek out beans that are oily and roasted to a deep, almost black color, associating this appearance with a bold, high-quality coffee. The truth is often the opposite. In some cases, over-roasting is not a stylistic choice, but a deliberate technique used to mask the flaws of low-quality, stale, or even moldy beans. The intense heat of a dark roast burns away the delicate and complex aromatic compounds that would reveal a bean's origin and quality, leaving behind a one-dimensional, smoky, and bitter flavor profile that effectively conceals any defects. The journey from coffee cherry to roasted bean is long, and there are many opportunities for things to go wrong. If beans are stored improperly in humid, poorly ventilated conditions at any point, whether on the farm, in transit, or in a warehouse, they can develop mold. Rather than discarding these contaminated batches, some producers and roasters simply roast away the problem. They crank up the heat, knowing that the resulting smoky char will overpower any musty or earthy off flavors from the mold. The issue is that while the heat may destroy the mold itself, it does not eliminate the harmful chemical byproducts it leaves behind. These byproducts are known as mycotoxins. One of the most concerning mycotoxins found in coffee is ochratoxin A, a substance that is known to be toxic to the kidneys and is classified as a potential carcinogen. Mycotoxins are remarkably heat-stable, meaning that even the high temperatures of the roasting process are not sufficient to fully break them down. So, while the coffee may taste fine, or at least like a typical dark roast, it could still contain these hidden contaminants. A study of commercial coffees found that mycotoxin levels were generally higher in coffees made from lower quality beans and that they were present in both caffeinated and decaffeinated varieties. The darker the roast, the harder it is for a consumer to visually or tastefully assess the original quality of the bean. You are essentially trusting that the roaster started with a clean, high-grade product. The best way to protect yourself is to prioritize freshness and transparency. Look for coffee bags that display a roasted on date, not just a best by date. Coffee is a fresh product, and its flavor degrades over time. Reputable roasters are proud of their sourcing and handling practices and will openly share information about their beans. A coffee that is overly dark and lacks a roast date should be viewed with suspicion. It may be hiding more than just its flavor. The Safe Coffees: How to Choose a Clean and Flavorful Brew. After navigating the minefield of misleading labels and hidden additives in the coffee aisle, it's natural to wonder what options are left. The good news is that genuinely pure, high-quality coffee is not only available, but also easily identifiable once you know what to look for. Choosing a safer brew isn't about sacrificing flavor or convenience. It's about prioritizing transparency and understanding the markers of true quality. From certifications that guarantee purity to brewing habits that preserve integrity, making a better choice is simpler than you think. Let's explore the coffee types that deliver on their promise of a clean, delicious, and genuinely wholesome experience, giving you the confidence to select the very best for your daily ritual. 1. Certified organic and fair trade beans. In an industry where marketing terms can be vague, certain labels stand as reliable symbols of integrity. Certified organic and fair trade seals are not just decorative elements on a coffee bag, they are proof of a rigorous, audited process that tracks beans from the soil to the shelf. This level of traceability is what separates an empty marketing claim from a verified commitment to health, ethics, and environmental stewardship. When you choose a coffee bearing these certifications, you are opting out of a system that often prioritizes profit over purity and are instead investing in a product held to a higher standard. To earn the USDA certified organic seal, coffee must be grown and processed without the use of synthetic pesticides, herbicides, or fertilizers. This is profoundly important for both the consumer and the environment. Conventional coffee farming is often chemically intensive, and residues from these substances can potentially find their way into the final product. Organic farming practices, on the other hand, rely on natural methods like composting and biological pest control, which protect the local ecosystem and ensure the beans are free from unwanted chemical traces. The certification process is strict, involving regular inspections and detailed record-keeping, so the seal provides a trustworthy guarantee that you are drinking coffee as nature intended. The Fair Trade certification addresses the human side of the coffee industry. It ensures that the farmers and workers who cultivate the beans receive fair wages, work in safe conditions, and are empowered through community development programs. While this might seem purely ethical, it has direct implications for quality and safety. When farmers are paid a fair price, they are better equipped to invest in sustainable farming practices and are less likely to cut corners that could compromise the quality of their crop. Fair trade standards also prohibit the use of the most hazardous pesticides, adding another layer of protection. Together, these certifications create a framework of accountability. They mean that the coffee in your cup is not only better for you, but also better for the planet and the people who produce it. 2. Freshly roasted whole beans. One of the most impactful changes you can make to elevate both the flavor and health benefits of your coffee is to switch to freshly roasted whole beans. The simple act of grinding your beans just moments before brewing is the single greatest defense against coffee's primary enemy, oxygen. The moment a coffee bean is roasted, it begins a natural process of degassing, releasing aromatic oils and volatile compounds. Once ground, the bean's surface area increases exponentially, dramatically accelerating the process of oxidation. This exposure to air causes the delicate oils to degrade and the vibrant flavor notes to dissipate, leaving behind a flat, stale, and sometimes rancid taste. Pre-ground coffee, no matter how well it is packaged, has already started down this path of degradation. By the time it reaches your kitchen, it may have been sitting on a shelf for weeks or even months, losing its aromatic potency and nutritional value with each passing day. The rich, complex flavors of citrus, berry, or chocolate that define a high-quality coffee fade into a generic, cardboard-like bitterness. More than just flavor is lost. The antioxidant compounds, such as chlorogenic acid, which contribute to coffee's health benefits, also diminish as the grounds become stale. Grinding fresh preserves these compounds, ensuring that each cup delivers not only a superior taste experience, but also its full wellness potential. To ensure you are getting the freshest product, always look for a roasted on date printed on the bag. A best by or expiration date is far less useful as it can span a year or more from the time of roasting. Ideally, you should purchase beans that have been roasted within the last 1 to 2 weeks and consume them within a month. Storing them correctly is just as crucial. Keep your whole beans in an opaque, airtight container away from light, heat, and moisture. By embracing the ritual of grinding your own beans, you take full control over the freshness and integrity of your coffee. It is a small step that transforms your daily cup from a simple caffeine delivery system into a rich and rewarding sensory experience. 3. Swiss water processed decaf. For those who love the taste of coffee but wish to avoid caffeine, the decaffeination method used is of utmost importance. While many conventional decafs rely on chemical solvents like methylene chloride to strip caffeine from the beans, there is a superior alternative that guarantees purity: the Swiss water process. This innovative certified organic method uses only water temperature and time to gently decaffeinate coffee, ensuring that no chemical residues make their way into your cup. It stands as the gold standard for clean, flavorful decaf, offering peace of mind to health-conscious consumers. The Swiss water process is a beautifully simple and effective system. It begins with soaking a batch of green coffee beans in hot water, which creates a solution saturated with all the water-soluble compounds found in coffee, including both caffeine and flavor molecules. This initial batch of beans is discarded, but the resulting solution, called green coffee extract (GCE), is the key to the entire process. The GCE is then passed through a series of proprietary carbon filters that are specifically designed to capture and remove only the larger caffeine molecules, while allowing the smaller, flavor-rich compounds to remain. This now caffeine-free GCE is used to decaffeinate new batches of green coffee beans. When the beans are submerged in the GCE, the laws of osmosis come into play. Because the extract is already saturated with flavor compounds, the flavor within the beans has nowhere to go. Only the caffeine migrates from the beans into the water, moving from an area of high concentration, the bean, to an area of low concentration, the GCE. This process is repeated until the beans are 99.9% caffeine-free, all while retaining their original distinct flavor profile. The result is a decaffeinated coffee that is pure, clean, and tastes exactly as it should. The Swiss water process is so confident in its purity that every batch is tested to ensure it is free from residual solvents. When you see the Swiss water seal on a bag of coffee, it is a definitive promise of quality and safety. 4 shade-grown and single-origin coffee. Beyond certifications and processing methods, the very origin and cultivation of a coffee bean can be a powerful indicator of its quality and purity. 2 terms to look for are shade-grown and single-origin, as they often signify a commitment to natural, sustainable agriculture and result in a more flavorful and complex cup. These coffees are products of a specific environment and are celebrated for their unique character, a stark contrast to mass-produced blends that are designed for uniformity and often mask the use of inferior beans. Shade-grown coffee is cultivated under the canopy of a diverse array of native trees, mimicking the way coffee originally grew in the wild. This traditional, eco-friendly method offers numerous benefits. The forest canopy protects the coffee plants from direct, harsh sunlight, which slows down the ripening process of the coffee cherries. This extended maturation period allows the beans to develop a higher concentration of natural sugars and complex acids, resulting in a cup that is sweeter, more balanced, and less bitter. Furthermore, the shade tree environment creates a rich, self-sustaining ecosystem. The decomposing leaf litter from the canopy trees naturally fertilizes the soil, and the habitat supports birds and insects that act as natural pest control, reducing or eliminating the need for chemical fertilizers and pesticides. Choosing shade-grown coffee not only provides a superior flavor experience, but also supports biodiversity and protects vital forest habitats. The term single origin means that all the beans in the bag come from a single, specific geographical location, be it a country, a region, or even a single farm. This level of traceability is a hallmark of quality. Unlike a blend, which might combine beans from various sources to create a consistent but generic flavor profile, a single-origin coffee allows the unique characteristics of its terroir, the soil, climate, and altitude, to shine through. Roasters who feature single-origin coffees are proud of their product's source and have a direct relationship with the farmers. This transparency makes it highly unlikely that cheaper, lower-quality beans have been secretly mixed in. When you buy single origin, you are buying a story and a specific taste profile, one that reflects the integrity of its source. Together, shade-grown and single-origin coffees represent a return to a more natural, mindful, and ultimately more delicious way of producing and enjoying coffee.